Watch it down. It's critical when it comes to driver testing. Pretty good, little bit steep, 2600. That's pretty much my normal drive though. 2600, 9 degrees, attack angle a little bit down on it. Last week I brought you a video talking about the differences between the Stealth and the Stealth Plus when it comes to spin rates. That one at 2600, watch the video, but it would have been spinning a little bit more. Now you'll notice, it was only right I followed up this week with it, there's a third driver head in the mix, all right? HD, what does that stand for? Only comes on the Stealth, so no movable weight at the front, but HD is exactly that, high draw. When you look at it in comparison to the Stealth, it's got the inertia generator on there, but it's angled slightly differently to give you a 15-yard more biased draw shape out of it. That's what it should give you. The engineers have taken care of all this. I don't want you to stress about it. They've done it all. If you're someone that slices the golf ball, you should be banging subscribe, you should be banging notified. This video is all you. But also, if you're someone like myself who can get a little steep on it, likes to hit the peel cut, I like that, but the HD might not be a bad thing. You're probably gonna hit more straight golf shots or maybe drawing golf shots. For me, that's a tough one because I like the driver to come out. I like it to be that flight, to be honest with you. A little squeezy, little fadey, but we've had good players use the HD before. We've had good players on tour use the HD before. But what you have to expect from it is that it's going to give you a little bit more draw. The way the club is going to move aerodynamically, this is all done for you. Reduce slice. So that's something you should definitely consider. Like I said, you don't need to do anything differently with the golf club. Get your fitting. TaylorMade offers this try before you buy program through the MyTaylorMade subscription model. Right now, you should be checking that out. The link is in this description below. You can go there, you can buy a golf club, you can try it for 2 weeks. You can do this with your alignment sticks. You can come to your favorite range, you can have your fitting, you can go on your launch monitor, then you can try it on the golf course. And if you like it, you can purchase it, and if you don't, you can return it at no charge. But this would be a great scenario to test that. The next thing to look for, if you're listening to all this going, well, I don't have a launch monitor, how do I know? Let's just hit one first and see if I can demonstrate here. So that was 2600. Remember I said I like to see the peel on it. Now I've got this slightly different center of gravity position. See if it actually shows us some draw here. Same golf shot, I won't try and do too much shaping on it. Pretty good example, look. So that, if my target line is the street lamp, as you guys know from watching this, similar spin conditions, I hit it a little bit out the toe, which will encourage a draw. But if my target line is the street lamp, that drew. If I'd have hit that shot, and I know I said it was a little bit toey for those of you who know about ball launch conditions, even with my Stealth Plus, I feel like it would have held straight, whereas that one just drew a little bit. So that's, again, you feeling, and that's the first shot I've ever hit with this club, with the HD, but again, it's feeling that. Now, what I liked about it, 2600 spin on a draw. So just because it's a draw club, when you draw the golf ball, you take the spin off of the golf ball, which means it can usually dip. Just because it's a draw club doesn't mean that there's no spin on this. There's still a good spin number. It spins more than the Stealth Plus. Again, I talked about that in last week's video. Go back and watch that if you're wondering the difference between the two heads. But back to if you don't have the launch monitor, and you'll see that I always like to watch ball flight. The first shot I hit was a classic. I'm looking at where it starts in the hill up there. I'm looking at where it drifts to. I'm aware that once it gets past this mound, the wind has more of an impact on it. So I do actually, if I'm hitting a driver good, want to see a slight left to right movement. But you should always watch ball flight. If you do the try before you buy program from MyTaylorMade Plus, when you go out onto your golf course, pick a day when the fairways are standard condition, meaning they're not saturated, wet, bone dry in the middle of summer if it's a links course. Look at the peak height, because you know subconsciously through the history of playing what the height is that you like to see, be it against the background or on a hole you're playing. Is the peak height the same? If it's higher, and it's landing and it's running forever, the spin might be a little low. If it's lower and it's landing and not running, then it's usually fighting to get up and the spin might not be where you want it. You need to look at first bounce, how far that ball runs out. Is it high, floaty and dipping and then not, and just running forever and it's not high enough? Or is it too low, climby, then it's too spinny? That's a general rule of thumb. It's not perfect. Be honest with yourself on the strike. The strike is everything. If you strike the ball well, you're gonna see true spin numbers. If you manipulate it, it's gonna drop if it's a little toey, it's gonna rise if it's a little heely, it's gonna rise if it's a bit low in the blade, it's gonna drop if it's a bit high in the blade. Hence why, if you're having a fitting, you've gotta hit shots and be honest with yourself. But back to the high draw and back to who it's aimed at. Yes, it's slicers, but it's also better players that wanna hit that draw. Anyone who wants to move it from right to left, this is gonna help you without dropping spin to a point where you can't control it. Final little tip for you. You can see I've teed this one up and lower it a hair just to get it where I'm comfortable. If you are a slicer, generally you're setting up to the golf ball. Again, you know, I hit balls with alignment sticks down because it gives me something to measure. But if you are a slicer, chances are you're setting up to it, you might be getting nice and square, but then you're pointing your chest at the golf ball and you're getting straight in this right arm. Pointing your chest at the golf ball. What does that mean? There's a sign here. I'm pointing my chest at the golf ball. Look what's happening. Look at my shoulders. Look at my shoulder alignment. They're going left. I'm now going to come this way and then I'm going to slice one. Imagine if we're playing drop shots in tennis or table tennis, I'm going to cut that way, aren't I? So all of a sudden I'm slicing across. So how do you fix that? Do everything you've done, set up for it, just put for the right-handed golfer your left hand on, bring your right hand from your right pocket underneath and try and create this angle here where everything becomes parallel to you guys watching. Try to look, you can see here I've got a wrench or an iPhone measuring my TrackMan data. Try and turn your chest at either of those things on the floor, set up to it, get into posture, bring this from under. Now the wind's picking up. This should be a good one to hit, see if we can catch it whilst the wind's there. So I'm in good posture, turn onto it. There you go. Watch it down. It's held on the lamppost. Little toey maybe, didn't hate it, 2600, but you can see, I wanted to see if that ball would drift right once it got past that hill. I mentioned it to you and it didn't. So I know if there's no wind, this is drawing. I know that's not something I love. I really want that ball that peels a little bit and fades just because hit more fairways doing that for me, and that's important for where I play and how much I play. But I also know, testing, looking at it, spin rate's pretty good. I could play this if I wanted to. I just have to change the shot shape that I like to see. But for any of you slicers out there, setup's key, standing to it's key, the sequence. Golf's so much about the process and the sequence at which you go and do things is critical. But the HD is something you should definitely look out for. If you're fading and you're slicing and you want to get rid of it, yes, you've got to make some technical changes, but you should also consider a driver that can help you with those things. If you like what you're seeing, subscribe and follow. Bang on the notifications because I do spring in the odd bonus edition. Never know when it's going to come, so it's always worth having the bell. Until next Tour Truck Tuesday, I hope this one helps you out.